takes us through the entire story of World War I, a conflict that originated in Europe but burned the entire world. Nearly every major nation of the time was involved. 65 million soldiers marched to the battlefield. More than 10 million souls never returned. Another 20 million were wounded, their bodies and souls forever shattered. The flames of war were ignited in June 1914 by an event that shook the world. The Sarajevo incident. The heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, came to Bosnia to display his military might. The Serbs, filled with revenge, saw this as a provocation. In the crowd, Serbian assassins waited. A bomb was thrown, but it was deflected. Franz Ferdinand and his wife escaped temporarily. But fate took a turn. The driver went the wrong way, and around the corner stood 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip. 2 bullets were fired. Franz Ferdinand and Sophie died instantly. The world was stunned. Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum, 10 demands that were impossible to accept in full. Serbia agreed to only 8. July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary, encouraged by Germany, declared war on Serbia. August 1st, Germany declared war on Russia. August 3rd, Germany attacked France. August 4th, Britain declared war on Germany. August 6th, Austria-Hungary attacked Russia. In a matter of days, the world was divided into 2 camps. The Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire, versus the Allied Powers, Britain, France, Russia, Serbia, and later the United States. The war was divided into 3 main fronts. The Western Front, Britain, France, and Belgium against Germany. The Eastern Front, Russia against Germany and Austria-Hungary. The Southern Front, Serbia against Austria-Hungary. The Germans implemented the Schlieffen Plan to advance through Belgium, capture Luxembourg, and strike France from the north. The German advance force nearly reached Paris, but at the Marne on September 5th, Anglo-French forces countered. The fighting lasted a week. Casualties were in the hundreds of thousands, and Germany's plans for a quick victory were shattered. The war on the Western Front had degenerated into trench warfare, a slow, muddy, and deadly war. In the east, Russia launched a hasty offensive, but poor coordination left their forces disintegrating. General Hindenburg exploited the gap. Encircling and destroying the Russian Second Army, 95,000 Russian troops were captured. 30,000 were killed, and its commander Samsonov committed suicide. In Galicia, Russia briefly repelled Austria-Hungary, killing hundreds of thousands of enemy soldiers. In the south, Serbia repelled Austro-Hungarian invasions 3 times, despite suffering tens of thousands of casualties. On October 29, 1914, the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers. Japan joined the war on the side of the Allies. Goal was clear: to expand its power in Asia. On April 26, 1915, Italy betrayed its longtime allies. For the sake of territorial promises from the Allies, they turned their backs and declared war on Austria-Hungary. February 21st, Verdun. The Germans tried to break the French spirit with a devastating attack. Over 543,000 French soldiers were killed or wounded, but they held on. The Germans also lost 430,000 men. Verdun became a symbol of determination and suffering. June 24th, the Somme. The Allies tried to relieve the pressure at Verdun. The battle turned into a muddy hell. The first tanks in history were used. Over 1 million casualties were suffered in this offensive. April 6th, the United States enters the war, triggered by Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare. In Russia, the October Revolution overthrows the provisional government. The newly formed Soviet Union withdraws from the war through the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The Eastern Front comes to a standstill, and Germany concentrates its forces in the west. March through July, the Germans launched a major offensive. They nearly reached Paris. But the arrival of American troops breathed new life into the Allies. July 15th, the Allies struck back at the Marne, Amiens, and Saint-Denis. September, Bulgaria, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire surrendered. Germany was alone. November 11th, 1918, in the forest of Compiègne, an armistice was signed. The war was over. The First World War changed the face of the world. 4 empires collapsed. The political map was redrawn. But the peace that came was a false peace. The Treaty of Versailles planted the seeds of hatred that would later erupt into the Second World War. This is a warning from history that greed and political arrogance can cost an entire generation.